So, scriptures talk about, and a soldier in Esau's military, this is part 2 to the lesson I was just doing. They had a mindset, they show you that what's that dead presidents, I can't think of the dude's name, but the Lorenzo Tate's character, he was up there, he had just had that baby, but you had, what was his name? Not Smokey, I can't think of his name, because, you had Chris Tucker played in Dead Presidents as well, and he was asking about his baby or bringing up his baby. They're like, well, you talk to your woman about your baby. He like, I ain't got time to think about that. He said, that shit off in the world, that'll get you killed. He was thinking about death every day, you know what I mean? Because he was in the shit, the suck, which we are. We consider spiritual soldiers. I got that suck from it's a military term. I got the shit from this video game called Days Gone. This is bullshit, you know what I mean? And it's only going to intensify. So if you hold on to this world, then yeah, you going to, I got that scripture, but I wanted to read it because I looked it up. AI Overview says the phrase lose your life for my sake is a biblical teaching primarily found in Matthew 10:39 and Luke 9:24, but it's also in Matthew. It says, instead of trying to save one's life through comfort and self-interest, one will find true life by being willing to sacrifice and serve, leading to a more profound, God-centered existence and the promise of eternal life. And when you see the way that this hamster wheel is set up, that make all the sense. They about to create a system. I was listening to the particular elder from Dallas. Shalom to that beloved elder. I was thinking, because I'm listening to the video, but show you how my mind must be, I got so many thoughts on it. I had to listen to it like 2 or 3 times, and it's better to always listen to something over and over, That's how you actually get it within your spirit. But he was going into the AI eugenics. These people have used eugenics for I don't know how long. That's one of the reasons why we, just had Thanksgiving Day, Well, you got people that I broke down the meaning of it to people, and people still went and celebrated it. You think the Lord is winking at that? Or maybe he is, because it's ultimately the Lord's judgment if he judge you. But at the same time, it's like you playing with the Lord at the time when the Lord ain't playing. You got grown ass people living with their parents type shit. Everybody barely making it, and then they trying to create a world where you will own nothing and be happy. A paradox of saving and losing. The teachings present a paradox. Trying to save your life by clinging to it will ultimately result in losing it. And that's what most people are going to do because they only believe in anything physical, carnal. That's why most people can't understand when we say this man that might look like an Edomite, it might be a Jake based on his spirit. But to a spiritual man, it's all spiritual things. And to a carnal, it's the carnal. I know I butchered that, but you know what I mean? You can't teach a nigga nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can't. And the devils use these niggas, niggards, however you want to put it, niggers, you know what I'm saying? That's for them particular brothers up in Chicago. Niggers, you know what I mean? But anyhow, and now he done with him, just like he done with the black woman. It's so funny. I got into it with this nurse broad, right? Because my babysitter, I switched babysitters, Satan be busy, right? Long story short, so I got into it with her daughter is a nurse and, she helped with the daycare. Now, I'm arguing with her. I'm catching myself arguing with her. I'm like, well, hold up. I'm not even fucking you. What am I arguing with you for? You know what I mean? I can see if I'm getting something out of this. Like, why don't you go play with your man or something like that? Like, and she ain't got no man. This woman, 29 years old. The mother is older. And I'm like, damn, you just brainwashed or got some hoodoo. Like she got a hoodoo doll on your ass or some juju or something. Because why would you give up the best years of your life to take care of your mother's business? And ain't that much loyalty in the world. So long story short, come to find out, you got that whole situation with these nurses that put all this time and effort and student loans and energy after I'm a bad bitch because I'm a nurse. You ain't really shit because AI can do your job. Ain't that's the Lord about to fuck these people up. And that's good for you. Because in humility, that's when in humility, that's when you get humbled. When you look at stupid, I think about my demon. She literally had to sleep on the ground. Bitch, how are you proud? But only in Babylon the Great do people, don't see it for what it is. And that's why the Lord going to destroy a lot of these stupid ass people. This is the book of Matthew chapter 16. And I'm going to start at verse 24. And I'm going to read in NLT. And it reads, discipleship is costly. Then Yahushua said to his disciples, if any of you want to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross and follow me. Just like Yahushua had to bear a cross, you know. And this is the mindset of a soldier. You know, you're not thinking, Peter was a soldier. He had a family. People forget about that. I forgot about it till I was reminded of it. Where did you hear about Peter? You didn't hear about him with his family. You heard about him with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Verse 25. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? For the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of his Father and will judge all people according to their deeds. And one of my favorite scriptures is 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. We all must go in front of the judgment seat of the Most High to basically give account for what we have done in the body, good or bad. So nobody escapes. And the cold part about it is the Lord puts on your spirit to do some of the shit you do so he can judge you. So you really don't got, man, listen. And the mindset of a soldier is, my dad used to always try to push me to go to the military. I was too much in the street. And then when I tried to go to the military, because they was going to consider it, I couldn't pass the test. I was on so many motherfucking drugs. I was on that Walking Dead man type shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to tell you half of the stuff I'll tell you, but I tell you because at the end of the day, that's how I know the Lord real. The Lord has basically preserved me, and I don't know what for. It could be like off that movie, The Stand. They preserved that dude. He was pulling a whole nuclear missile. And they got there and destroyed the whole fucking, you know what I mean? And that's a good book. I don't know about the movie. The movie was kind of like a B. That's something about Stephen King. He'll write them great books, but then he'll make movies and they be kind of garbage. Well, not all his movies. Like Christian was good. Certain movies were like what was the one? When they was in the fog, it had Thomas Jane in it. When it was the aliens in the fog. Christian. He had a number of good movies. But it's some movies that they'll come on like Sci-Fi Show, Sci-Fi Channel, it'd be just B-rated movies. Like they got a movie that he wrote, I can't think of the name of it, but it's based on the people the inheritance of the Winchester, the ones that created the rifle. And basically, this is a true story where the lady was getting haunted by all the spirits that they killed because that gun killed a lot of people. So she would keep on building onto the house because she was getting haunted by the ghosts or the spirits. And she'd keep on building on it. And they was like, she had so much money, she could afford to do it. They thought she was eccentric, but no, she was really terrified of the spirits. And ultimately, the spirits ended up getting her. That's based on a true story. I used to have this book that went into like all these different oddities, like things that, like just a whole bunch of odd facts and odd history that you didn't know about. It's written in the cartoon form. This is the book of John, chapter 3, and verse 16, and it reads, for the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth him, when the world is a Greek word, I think it's cosmos, a distinct or a group of people, which is the nation of Israel. If I'm not mistaken, like I said, I ain't got time to look it up, but I don't want to give no, I need to get like 5 blue letter. I need to get Bibles with the correspondence so you could just look up the word there. But yeah, so he gave up his life for Israel, And it'd be funny. I know the elders are particularly powerful individuals because again, I would have lost patience on certain stuff. But that show you how the Lord really works with repetition also, because and it's showing you how to actually, it kind of reminds you of a Karate Kid. How Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi was showing him how to do karate, but he wasn't aware of it. And that's our problem sometimes. I know that's my problem. I ain't gonna say us, but I want to know every fucking thing. And some things you don't need to know. You just need to learn the habit of. So remember, he was teaching him to wax on, wax off, and he thinking he just painting his house, but he was showing him the form he got to use to block the punch, to counter the punch. And he basically had put it in his spirit because what they say, you got to throw a punch a certain amount of times before you mastered it, a kick a certain amount of times. You throw it a couple times and you thinking you got all this, you know, you got the special punch with, no, you know. So just like the Lord, well, verse 17, for the Most High sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. And that's that group of people. Although the scripture said 2/3 of the nation of Israel are going to be cut off and die, you know, because the Lord can't do nothing with them. You know, they're not about to hearken or come back to the Lord. So they're going to be, you know, sacrifices on this altar known as Babylon the Great, aka America. This is Romans chapter 14. In verse, I'm going to get that one later. This is the book of Revelations chapter 14 and verse 13, and it reads, and I heard from, so again, you're going to have individuals that's allotted to give up the ghost to prove the faith, their faith, and prove, you know, this truth to the world. You know, based on what the true believers about to go through is going to have other people we can get converted. You about to see miracles because through faith, which faith, hope, and confidence is all synonymous. I'm on Revelations 14 and 12. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushua Mashiach. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. And the scriptures, I think it's like 1 Thessalonians, it talks about, it's either first or second, it talks about being called up to heaven with the Lord, you know, and it's going to be those dead in the Most High, or dead in Yahushua Mashiach first and foremost, then the living. But again, those that actually able to give up the ghost on the side, you know, that's a particular spirit. Everybody ain't got a spirit like that. You know, you got individuals that say certain shit and be meaning it. I ain't gonna, nigga got a pistol in their face. I ain't giving up my shoes. When that's material. But you've heard Jake's getting shot. Remember, that show you how I knew something was evil about Michael Jordan back then. A nigga was getting killed over his shoes. Then you come to find out this nigga got all this money in the prison industrial complex. He thinks what the elder said. He fancies himself a black Edomite. Little do he know that Esau gonna bite his dumb ass too. But fuck the 2/3. This is the book of Romans chapter 14 and verse 7. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. But the elect, we live and die to Yahushua Mashiach. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. For to this end, Mashiach both died and rose and revived, that he might be Lord both of the dead and the living. You know, and that's the mindset of a soldier. You know, finish the mission, no matter unto pain or death, because persecution coming. You know, that system is pretty much here. And if you could read chess or you could read shit, you know what I'm saying? If you see when motherfuckers be running game or, you know, that's just, the Lord actually has certain individuals, and I ain't gonna say that's all street shit, but like certain way, the Lord actually ordered your steps. So you grew up in certain situations and environments to hone certain, you know, skills sets in. You know, certain things that niggas use in the street, military use. I've seen niggas in the street can read lips, you know what I'm saying? Which is a skill that can help you one day. Motherfucker be plotting on you and you watching him talk about you. So anyway, you know, that just caught my attention. I don't know if I can play it again because I don't want the phone to die. It's died several times and I got to figure out why it's dying. And I don't think it's the memory, but we shall see. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, commandments of your power. Whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushua, you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to call Loyim by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem HaKodash, double honors to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom. Shalom to the Akim and Akwata. Listen and learn. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad. in the land of other nations, appearing like other nations, but subscribing to the truth. The U.S. say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly. Shalom, shalom. Kwame Asharala and Mawakla Babor.